Lea Michele, her first solo album, Louder, is out right now. We're going to hear 2 songs from that in just a bit, but first we want to welcome you to GMA.
Thank you
It's great
so
to have
much.
you here.
It's so nice to be here.
And I want to talk about the album, but we all know you've had this difficult year, but what's impressed so many of us is you've handled it with such poise, such humanity, and I think so many of our viewers want to know, where do you draw the strength from?
I'm really very, very, very thankful for all of the amazing people that I have in my life. I mean, I know that that sounds like something that everyone says, but honestly, my friends and my family, they've gotten me through this and really, really, really been there for me, and I couldn't have, done it without them.
And you've done it, and you're back, and you're strong, and now your first solo album, Louder, is out. And I was just telling you just before we came on, we're getting all kinds of reaction online, a lot of Twitter questions. One of them comes from Dancer Glee.
Okay.
Who says, I feel like Louder is like reading your diary. It's personal and passionate. Would you agree?
I absolutely would agree, and that's really what I sought out to do in making this record. Moving to Los Angeles from working on Broadway, I was cast on Glee within just a few weeks.
Ryan said you're perfect.
Yeah.
No one else could do that.
And so I really just was introduced to the world as Rachel Berry. So I wanted to take this opportunity in making this record and really letting my fans know who I am. And I think that music should be personal. Those are the songs that, when Alanis Morissette came out with You Ought to Know, you wanted to know who was she singing about and what was that song about, and you felt connected to her. And that's what I wanted to do, just creatively on a music side, but also for my fans.
And it took a little bit of a detour. It started out a little more of a poppy album and then became a little more dramatic.
Yeah, I mean, over the course of the year and a half that it took me to make the record, I was, filming Glee at the same time and cramming this in on weekends. It took a lot of different shapes and, moods, but I think at the end of the day, it's a pretty good balance.
Will we hear something from Louder on Glee?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I think that might be a little confusing for people. That would be Lea Michele playing Rachel Berry, singing Lea Michele. So I think that maybe. And
you got another season, another full season to go before it's all done. Can you even imagine the end of it yet?
We've been getting asked that question a lot. What are you going to do when it's over, and how do you feel about it ending? And it's like, just getting through one episode is like very difficult. So to think about like 33 from now, it's, we have a lot still to do, but I think that day will be beyond emotional.
And then in between, you have a tour for Louder.
Yes.
All across the country?
Well, I'm hoping with the little time this summer, I have like 4 weeks off between season 5 and season 6 of Glee. I really like to, go overseas and thank my fans, worldwide, who've been so wonderful. And then, hopefully at some point, maybe when I'm finished with Glee in 2015, get to do a domestic tour and really.
So how do you do all this? You're doing all this. You're doing Glee. You're doing an album. You're touring. And now I read you're also going to come out with your first book.
Yeah.
This spring, Brunette Ambition.
Brunette Ambition.
Tell
yeah.
us about it.
I'm really proud of it. I never really thought of myself as a writer, but I felt that I had a lot that I wanted to say for my fans and for young girls that, want to hear a little bit about my story.
So is that who it's pitched at, young girls?
I really think that there's something for everyone. There's recipes in there, lots of stuff on fitness and beauty. But, so many of my fans want to know how I got to where I am today and, sort of the obstacles that I had to cross, to get to where I am.
And could you ever dream when you were growing up, and this is coming out as well, you're going to be in Legends of Oz,
yes,
the voice of Dorothy, that you would be Dorothy?
It's really crazy. The first time I ever said like Toto and Annie M and like There's No Place Like Home, I was like, this is so crazy. When I was a little girl, I thought I was Dorothy. I wore ruby slippers, I think, from like 4 until I was about 10. So this is pretty amazing.
It's pretty great. And then one final thing we're all hoping for, and this might be far into the future, we would love to see you right across the street over there, Funny Girl on Broadway.
That would be pretty amazing. I definitely want to. I was so surprised with how much I fell in love with this recording process and making this album, and I definitely want to make another one right away. So, and I also want to tour this record. So once I feel like, I've scratched that itch completely, then, Broadway is definitely where my heart is.
And we are going to hear from Louder
Yes.
in just a minute. Lea Michele, thanks very much.